What is going on, guys? Back with another video. I know it's been a little bit, but been super busy, but we're back at it again. I hope everyone's enjoying their first few weeks of spring training games and everything. Watching all their favorite players getting ramped up for opening day, which is only about 26 days away, it looks like, for now. So really looking forward to these next few weeks and seeing some guys ramp up for the real season. But this is going to be something a little bit different now. A little bit short-term videos to my prospect card podcast where I talk about guys a little bit more individually. Since I can't do that for every single player, I will do that more towards some of the bigger named guys or some other guys I'm like super fans of. This is going to be something a little bit different. Little shorter term videos of those, but these are going to be individual 5 to 10 guys. I'll talk about really small, in depth about their card prices and, maybe some stats from the past few years. But let's get into this. I'm going to show you some of the guys. It's going to be 5 pitchers is going to be my first episode today. So 5 pitchers I'm currently going to be buying for this season. 4 of these guys were all high school draftees. One of them was a college pitcher, but you know what? Let's get right into this. So the first guy I'm going to be talking about is Adam Suranowski, a 15th round pick for the Reds back in 2022. His first is in 2024 Bowman Chrome. This is my biggest card of him currently. I have a PSA 10 Red Shimmer auto, but he's actually super cheap for what I thought is pretty solid production for a 20-year-old. He hasn't pitched above A ball just yet. He had 25 starts, which equaled out to a 3.57 ERA with a pretty solid strikeout numbers at 106 strikeouts on 85 innings. Only gave up 4 home runs in 8 of those 85 innings, so that's good to see. Only giving up an average of 205, which is really solid, and a whip coming in at 127. Really solid numbers there. I haven't watched a whole lot of tape on him just yet, but just looking at a basic numbers perspective, I mean, this is a really solid strikeout rate, only giving up 45 walks to 106 strikeouts. So a little under half for what he gives up in strikeouts. So I'm buying him, and his autos are dirt cheap. I mean, you can get his autos, his base chrome autos are only about $3. I mean, he's an underrated guy. I think he was, they haven't updated the MLB pipeline just yet, but I think he was in that 15 to 20 range for the Reds, so he's in their top 30, so it is a name to look out for. 15th round picks usually, unless, they really have a good season like he did last year, kind of came up and they moved him into that top 30. I mean, they haven't stretched him out a whole lot, so we'll see if he's going to be a starter, if he projects to be a reliever. Time to be told. I would assume he starts the year at high A and maybe climbs himself into double A, depending if he keeps his good strides up. But that's the first guy I'm buying. All right, so the next guy I'm going to be talking about is going to be a guy who actually doesn't have a technical first autograph from his original release, which is 21 Bowman Draft. This is Logan Henderson. I believe his first auto doesn't have the first symbolization, but his first actual autograph are sticker autos in 2023 Bowman. But he has a ton of numbered stuff in 21 Bowman Draft, which is pretty hard to find, honestly. But he's a 23-year-old right-handed hitter or pitcher in the Brewers system. And what I really like about this kid is, number one, he's in the Brewers system, probably one of the best developing teams for pitchers in the major leagues, in my opinion. Corbin Burns, Brendan Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, Josh Hader, the list goes on and on. These guys just seem to keep producing really good pitchers at the major league level. And this is a kid I see making the team here pretty soon. It didn't look like he has actually invited to. He was not non-roster invitee. He wasn't invited to spring training this year, so that doesn't really concern me a whole lot. I mean, he had a really good year last year. He pitched between 4 levels. He started the year at rookie ball, which I think he came off on injury from 2023. But he did pitch in 2 levels to start the year. He started at rookie ball and then moved to A+, but majority of his work came in AA. And he pitched in 46 innings. He had a 3.30 ERA, but his strikeout numbers were pretty nuts. 58 strikeouts to 7 walks. I mean, the kid's a stud. Only giving up a 2.02 average with a 0.88 whip. I mean, this kid's really impressive. I mean, I watched a few of his games last year. I mean, this kid's got lights out stuff. Then he got a little bit of work in AAA to end the year, but that's when he got crushed. He had a 4.56 ERA, 23 and 2/3 innings, gave up 19 hits, 13 runs, 5 home runs, and he was giving up more than a batter per inning on the bases. But a really underrated guy. He's still only 23 years old. He still has a year or two to develop and, work through some things. It doesn't look like they're stretching him out a whole lot so far in his minor league career. But he did follow up 2020, or he had a really good 2023 year, and he followed that up with a pretty solid 24 campaign. I think he was around the same as Adam in the Brewers system. I think he was a little bit higher, though. I think he was in that 12 to 18 range. I don't think he was in the top 10 to finish last year. The Brewers have an absolutely loaded system, and he's kind of log jammed into that. But he's actually pretty solidly cheap. If you prefer the autos do come in 23 Bowman, but I'm pretty sure there's only sticker autos. He doesn't have chrome autos, but you can find plenty of numbered stuff. It's super cheap though. You can find purples for about $5. I mean, his greens are only selling for about $2-3 out of 99. Chrome purples, $5. You can find number stuff, get it graded pretty cheap, and you could probably flip it for a pretty good price if he gets called up. Brewers have a really good following for their players, and they buy him up pretty well. He's a really underrated guy. I mean, he's super cheap. It's like, why not throw in, dart at the wall and hope you hit? He's really solid. But let's get into number 3. All right, so guy number 3 is kind of a guy that's kind of taken a crushing recently. His prices have dropped a significant amount since the release of 22 Bowman draft. And this pitcher, you guys may know, Dylan Lesko, a former first-round pick by the Padres. He was drafted, had Tommy John. He's only pitched in about 117 total innings of pro ball so far, but he came off Tommy John when he was drafted out of high school, but he was considered a top 20 prospect in that draft. I mean, high leverage stuff. I mean, this kid had electric stuff in high school. I mean, but coming in Tommy John, it's going to be tough. Padres threw him straight into the fire. I mean, he got as high as high A ball in 2023, but 4.5 ERA, only in 12 innings, gave up a ton of walks in those 11. He had 11 walks in those 12 innings. He pitched an A ball before that, 16 innings, had 13 hits, 8 earned runs, 8 walks. But he's great strikeout stuff. That's what's he has. The one struggle that he had with this coming year, his first full true season in pro ball, and before he was in a trade, at the deadline. With the Padres system, he only got as high as Midland. Or sorry, not Midland. A-ball. I don't know what I'm talking about. Got absolutely freaking schwacked. I mean, he 1-9 loss record. I don't really care about win losses for pitchers. It's kind of an overrated stat in my opinion. But 6.46 ERA in 16 starts, 69 innings. Gave up 55 hits, 51 runs, 50 of those which were earned, 11 home runs, 52 walks to 79 strikeouts with a 1.54 whip. I mean, he was absolutely getting annihilated. So his card price is shot down, right? Kind of for people were like, all right, well, this guy sucks, right? But here's the thing. That Tommy John is, for young guys, is kind of hard to come back from. And it took a little time for him to really get back into the thing. And when he got traded, it got even worse. He got traded to the Rays. But my high hopes are that the Rays are really, really good, underrated development team of pitchers. So I do think he will have a good 2025. We will see, though. He's still only 21 years old. He still has that background of being a really good prospect coming into the minors. But when he got traded in only 14 of the third inning, so this is kind of a inflated number, of course, but it wasn't a good 14 innings. 9.42 ERA, 8 hits, 15 runs earned, 23 walks to 21 strikeouts. He's given up a lot of walks. He gave up a whopping total this year of 75 to 100 strikeouts. He almost had as many walks as he had innings pitched this year. So command's a big issue for him. Let's hope he gets it kind of underway, this next year. I have high hopes for him. As much as I don't like the Rays, I do think he will kind of pick it up. So his prices have absolutely plummeted. His first chrome autos haven't really been selling a whole lot recently. I mean, the last raw one I see that has sold is $16 back in November, but it's kind of an irrelevant price at this point, right? A purple 10 autograph just did $30. I mean, that's dirt cheap. That's well worth the risk. I bought this refractor auto for I think $40, and refractor autos are usually the ones that are more sought after. I bought it for about $40. I think like back in December maybe. Just looking at a 130 point right now, I have it in front of me. He has 5 sales that have popped up in the past 4 months. Now I'm just gonna look up eBay recent sales for him, because I had everything else. It just says all communal sales still going and all that, but so yeah, his most recent sales for raw chromes, no numbered, 14, 15. Here's my sale actually of the refractor, $45, which I think is a great value for that. His PSA 9s are $10. I mean, pretty cheap still. I mean, these are autos were once like $40, $50. I mean, he was considered, one of the better pitchers coming into that draft. So, I mean, I think he's well worth the risk, probably kicking the rocks on it and, seeing what happens with him this year. But we'll see. All right, let's get into this next name. All right, so name number 4 is a guy that I'm actually going to start buying now. I just recently got hip to him. He's a pitcher in the Ranger system, and it's going to be Mitch Brott. I actually originally bought this refractor after the World Baseball Classic when he pitched for Canada. He got actually killed. But I looked him up. I was like, why does this guy sound familiar? Oh, when I was chasing a 21 Bowman draft, I was chasing Sal Frelick, Logan Henderson, and a bunch of other stacked loaded class that was. I never heard of this guy, I heard of him, but I didn't really think a whole lot about him. And I was like, let me look him up. His autos are freaking cheap. And he, for very good production throughout his minor league career. I mean, he has started 55 games, 258 innings. He has only given up 92 earned runs with a 2.29 average and a 1.16 whip. Very solid. His ERA 3.21 in those starts, or all those games. Yeah, he has 63 total games. 55 of those are starts. So he does project to be a starter. Looks like they've thrown him in some reliever roles. I mean, his ERA has stayed pretty consistent throughout his minor league career, which is a great sign. He's a lefty. I don't think he throws too hard. His 2022 campaign, he had a 2.45 ERA at 80 innings, 3.54 in 2023 at 61 innings. And then 2024 is the most innings he's pitched, so they're starting to stretch him out a bit, which is a good sign. He pitched in 110 innings in 21 of those. He pitched in 24 games, 21 starts, and 110 innings. They're starting to stretch him out a little bit more. They're starting to give him some more leash. So in 24, he pitched between high A and double A. High A was his better start. 77 innings total. 15 of those games were starts. He had 28 runs and only 26 of those were earned. Only 6 home runs, which is great. 16 walks to 84 strikeouts. He's not walking guys. He's not letting guys get on base, which is great. He only had a 1.01 whip at the high A level. And then when he got promoted later in the year, he pitched 33 innings at double A, 5.45 ERA, 34 hits, 25 runs. 20 of those were earned. Only 4 home runs still. He's not giving up the long ball a whole lot. Only 20 in his entire minor league career, which is great. His whip didn't get a little inflated. Obviously, this is a very smaller sample size compared to his high A start to the year. 1.39 whip. Still not terrible. He's still pretty young too, which is nice. He's still only 21. He's a lefty. And what I think is the most promising for him is that the door is going to be opening up pretty soon. The Rangers rotation is starting to get a little bit older. DeGrom is 35, 36, struggling with Tommy Johns. You got John Gray, who's in his mid-30s. So the doors are going to be opening up for him, and this new wave of pitchers for the Rangers has a really bright future, in my opinion. Rocker, you got obviously Brott, you got Leiter. They got a bunch of solid names coming up here pretty soon, and this is a kid that I think is going to crack the rotation here in about a year or two. I think he might start at the AA level. I think he's definitely earned that right. I'm super excited for him. We're excited to see where he is going to be this year. And his autos, his base chrome autos in 21 Bowman draft is what he released in. His base chromes, not numbered, anywhere from $1 to $5. That's well worth the risk, in my opinion, for very, very solid production at almost 4 years in the minors so far. His orange refractor auto, best offer accepted, $50 just a couple weeks ago. Seems like a no-brainer to be. His PSA 9 autos, $4. I'm telling you guys, this kid is gonna be a steal. I promise you. I'm not telling you to buy him. I'm just saying this is who I'm gonna be buying. I'm never ever gonna tell you who to buy or what to buy. I'm just putting that out there. But if you're watching this, Mitch Brott's gonna be a steal. I promise you. But his greens, $1. It's crazy. But enough of him. I'm showing my excitement for him as I'm going through these guys. I get more and more excited because these are guys I'm gonna really start following throughout the year. They keeping their name on my laptop and buying their Chrome stuff. So let's get into name 5 and we'll wrap this up. Alrighty, so the last name on this list is going to be another lefty in the White Sox organization. In the 2023 Bowman draft is his first. It's going to be Lucas Gordon. He's a 6th-round pick. I actually watched him pretty closely at Texas. I am a Longhorns fan, so I do have a little bit more of an affiliation for this guy. Very, very solid pitcher. He's a lefty, like I said. He was a 6th-round pick, but he had a very, very good college career. He had 56 games he appeared in. He had 210 innings, 14-4, 199 strikeouts, and a 1.14 whip, followed with a 2.87 career ERA in Texas SEC now. But he did pitch in the Big 12, obviously, before the transition. But very good starter. Right now, I kind of thinking he might project to be a 4 or 5 starter, possibly a middle style reliever. That's my only issue, but you never know. White Sox need arms. They don't have a great starting rotation right now, but they do have some really, really solid guys coming up through the system. Won't talk about those guys, but I am going to talk about this guy for now. Had a very solid 2024. He had 23 games. So started all 23 of them, 113 total innings, 70 hits, 32 runs, 28 that were earned towards him, and only 10 home runs given up in those 113. My only concern with him is going to be the walks, 2 strikeouts. It was an issue in college, and it's kind of transitioned over to pro ball, but that's where I project him to be more of a middle reliever to a back-end bullpen type of guy. That way he can work on that kind of thing. But what's great with him is he's already pitched in 2 seasons, 2023 and 2024, and his stats really do correlate to how his entire career has gone as a pitcher. In 25 total starts, 30 games in total, 2.10 ERA, and 124 total innings, only 29 earned runs given up, 10 home runs given up in his career in those 124 pro innings, 69 walks to 112 Ks with a 184 career average given up and a 1.19 ERA, or 1.19 whip, sorry, jeez, gather myself here. So my only stipulation with him is when you're going to be collecting, it's like Logan Henderson. They do not have Chrome autos, first Chrome auto, sorry. And that's obviously what the collector / investor is buying the most of. This is my only current one of him right now in a 10. It's kind of hard to find. People aren't ripping a whole lot of 23 draft, but he also doesn't have a lot of cards because he doesn't have autos. So everyone that has the 250 purple autos, he has less because he only has the base purple. So if you look for him specifically, just know you're not going to find any autographs of him. It's only base Chrome numbered stuff plus the paper. But his Chrome stuff is dirt cheap. Purples are going for $1. That's the only thing, is if you ever do decide to look into him, his stuff is insanely cheap if you can find it, but it's hard to find because, once again, he doesn't have as much as everybody else. So I think that'll also benefit him when he does, when he gets the call up. People will be scrambling to look for it. His stuff will be a little bit more rare, so the stuff that's graded in 10s will do better. But that's just my opinion, obviously. But, I mean, his stuff's insanely cheap. His green Chromes, $1. I mean, I think this is insanely cheap value for what he might bring. Regardless, even if he does see himself getting called up to be a reliever, that time of that call, that short time between that call up is when his cards will jump up the most. But one of these guys, I'm gonna buy a couple of his like cheaper Chrome stuff. I mean, I searched eBay before this and I can't find a whole lot, so I'm gonna try to, and what he does have on there, people are have it for way over what recent sales are saying. So but I hope you guys enjoyed this type of content, this video. Please feel free to drop some comments down below if you guys have heard of any of these guys, if you're buying any of them, or just let me know who you want to hear about next or who you're currently buying. I love hearing that kind of stuff. I want to hear some feedback from you guys. But tune into the next video. We got 5 hitters coming next, plus also some other content like some PSA cards that I'm getting ready to send off and whatnot. But thanks again, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate you guys, and catch you in the next one.